Hello everybody, it's my last live for tonight. I've been very busy. I have a lot going on with the church all this week. Going to hit every bishop. This one's important. This one is the recently passed Innovation and Competition Act 2021, done by the U.S. Senate, Democrats, Republicans alike, unanimously, bipartisanly voted it forward. There's a ton of Canadians trying to narrate what that act itself from U.S. Senate that's going to be ascended by President Joe Biden, no doubt about it. I've read it in its entirety. I've went through what Trump proposed before that, which is exactly what Biden is doing. Again, everybody, USA runs on we the people. They have checks and balances. Sure, politicians lie, just like Canadian politicians, until they get into power. This is the huge difference, everybody. Monumental difference between Canada and USA. Once elected, you can really lie, cheat, and steal in Canada. That is the constitutional monarchy. That is the Constitution Act of Canada, 1867, as well as 1982. Has always been that way. When British had it, it was the British North American Act. Canada took it, took its power, adopted it for itself. UK Crown abolished, Canada picked it up. The politicians, conservative, liberal, have picked that power up to rob you all blind. Now narratives from Canadians and groups trying to narrate legislation from the United States of America. Wrong, wrong, wrong. I have pictures from U.S. Senate, from those in U.S. Senate, as well as international players from the United States of America. Mike Pence just had his birthday. Got a beautiful picture sent of a friend sitting with Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, and several other U.S. senators. 50-50 Senate. Now we have the Vice President makes the decision on U.S. Senate. She's leader of Senate. This bill on China that everyone's saying is on China, and USA investigating Trudeau and China deals. Newsflash, everybody. America first. They're going to analyze every single deal every country in the world has with China. All the allies, everybody. Trudeau has inherited a 31-year deal from Stephen Harper, cemented, bound in treaty. China is another UNSC member. USA has no authority except, I repeat, except to launch a nuclear World War III. That's all they could do. I don't think they're going to do that. But they will look and analyze at any strategic mistake made by any of their allies to look at taking them away from any deal with China. Maybe that's great news, maybe it's not. I can tell you right now, as far as proliferation, Canada is not a proliferation country. USA is going full proliferation forward with nuclear, meaning Canada can't compete. Meaning they're going to kick our butts in energy, destroy our energy industries, and replace it with theirs. America first. This is bipartisan. This is Democrat or Republican. Doesn't matter what you campaign on. When you get elected to office, you will make America first. Or within 2 years of your election, what's called midterms, you can kiss it all goodbye. You're out the door or remained powerless, meaning you will lose your Senate, you will lose your House, you can't do anything except for executive orders, and you will finish your 4 years with nothing. It's happened to many presidents, almost every single one, where all they're left with is executive power. They can even fall off the rails. That's reality. Trump got in, he had majority House, majority Senate. Now it's just Democrat House. They pass a competition bill that has everything to do with America first. And yes, China's in there. They're not the only ones, but China, the UNSC powers in there. There is nothing about calling COVID-19 a fake a phony or that China's responsible for everything. Now they want to investigate Wuhan labs. They were going to anyway. Newsflash, everybody. Trump was well on his way to it too. Guess who now has adopted exactly the same thing as per America First and the Constitution of the United States. Politicians can lie to you. They can tell you everything. They can do whatever campaigning in the USA. When they get to office, checks, balances, and a system is in place that forces them to toe the line every time. Now they can come up with agendas and narratives, but if they don't put and prove America's first within 2 years, they're gone. Biden's doing what he has to do to survive. And now we're seeing a different Joe Biden than what was campaigned on. I've spoke lots about this. Trump was different in a lot of respects than anything before him. They criticized him. Now Joe Biden's falling in line, doing everything Donald Trump had to do. It wasn't Donald Trump's idea. It was his administration and the power of the people and the checks and balances. I urge you all, the link's there. Go read the act. Read President Joe Biden's statement. You're not going to find Justin Trudeau under investigation anywhere in that act. You're not going to see anything in that act called on that coronavirus is a fraud. USA will never do that. They've already pumped out billions into coronavirus and vaccines. There's no way they're going to rule that. Do they want to find a link to China in the lab? Sure they do. And they likely will. Because that's America first and they will do the job. Wouldn't matter Democrat or Republican. But to start making narratives in Canadian organization and groups, completely false propaganda, and start sharing it out, especially against a country you don't live in, the country isn't stating that, you and your groups are stating that, uh-oh, we got a problem here. And it just keeps coming and coming and coming. People keep sharing, oh no, I know, I'm an expert. You are not the U.S. Senate. I know U.S. senators. I know them. I know Mitch McConnell and his team. I'm hooked up with Kelly Knight Craft. I'm also in with a lot of the Democrat Senate. I don't see any other Canadian like that. And I'm telling you right now, that is not what that act is, which is in the title. That is not the narrative USA pushes, Democrat or Republican. They never have. They've questioned. And sure they'd like to get China put down. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe it'll be proved that they played around with it in a lab, or at least it was released officially from the lab. It sure looks like it could be that way. I've never disputed that, but I don't make assertions or let alone take somebody's legislation from another country and interpret it in my fashion that fits my narratives, which is a complete lie than what's actually been said and published. Sorry, everybody. You choose to do what you do, but when you put false narratives, false propaganda, and you lie, literally lie about another country or its legislation or its narrative, you only destroy yourself and you destroy all your credibility. People, let the process go forward. We're going to see what's what. But again, I'm going to say, at no time does USA Senate ever, in that entire act passed by Senate here, going forward to President Joe Biden, who will ascend it, does it ever go into anything that any Canadian I've seen or shared with me has published. It's completely false. It's a giant lie. In fact, the small portion of China is the very smallest portion of that bill. There's a ton about jobs, competition, and everything else, and analyzing all treaties. And yes, China's in there as a world economic power. USA is going to take on, like all countries of the world, because again, everybody, America first. Taking small chips out of a giant document and writing a whole other document narrative on that is not only wrong, but supports what the government says about the lies, the propaganda and gets them to steal our rights away. Because people continue these giant lie narratives, and it doesn't serve anyone any justice. Do you think the USA looks at any of those publications as anything but a bunch of ignorant, embarrassing Canadians in some kind of weird narrative that doesn't really match anything that USA has published and released? Not anything the Senate has even said. Now, there are government speakers, there are always going to be people who say their narratives, but that's not the act that was passed. I've read it in its entirety. I didn't find anything that anyone has shared with me or Organizations of Canada mass emails. It's lunacy, it's wrong, and it's a complete lie. Thank you, that's my video. The last one tonight. I don't have time to go through everybody's stuff. I hate myth busting. I do. I want to focus on what I'm working on, which now till the 28th is all about the Catholic Church and all about the ICC. As things come up, I'll hit them, but people, you've got to find a way to get out of the propaganda and crap, because you're not helping yourself. You're definitely not helping Canada. You're hurting Canada and hurting Canadians, and only making things worse and worse and worse for us. Because if Canada's just a soup of liars, phonies, fakes, and frauds, how long until this country is completely down the toilet? The more we go with the crazies and radicals, the worse it's going to get for us, internationally and absolutely domestically. Thank you. That's my video. Bye now.